Hello, hello! Bl'Art here, with Dimensions End Transcendence Tier 10 Reckoning. The final showdown? I don't know. This isn't the last one, but it might be the hardest. We're bringing a team of Terra, Freya, and Auron, which may look pretty familiar if you watched my Dare to Defy team. A slight difference, though. Before we get too deep into it, be sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Support the channel if you like seeing this content and want to see more of it. It's a great way to help me out. But yeah, so I swapped out Exdeath for Freya because I found that, well, in the Dare to Defy version, which has 15 million less health, we just barely killed them on the last turn, and I figured that Exdeath probably wasn't bringing enough damage to pull that off here during the mad dash from 40% zero, so I thought Freya would be a better pick, with her off-turn damage actually scaling with Force Time. F's in the chat for our favorite tree. But anyway, that said, it's a pretty comfy run so long as you respect the key pieces here. Auron keeps us tremendously safe. I actually tried replacing Auron with Charlotta to get the ticket missions out of the way as well. Unfortunately, as I'll discuss later, maybe in a bit more detail, literally every threshold attack I encountered double-tapped the target, and it was never Freya in the air. It was incredible. I think I had 10 runs in a row die to threshold attacks blowing up either Charlotta or Terra. It was really frustrating. But I figured, you know what? All right, fine. We're gonna clear this, and we're gonna clear it. So with Terra, so we're gonna use Auron here. I mean, yes, you're probably thinking, Bl'Art, why don't you just bring Charlotta instead of Terra? And the reason is because I haven't maxed Charlotta's burst, and I don't know if I will at this point. She's good, don't get me wrong. I'm just kind of strapped for burst resources and burst plus resources, I should say. And so I'm trying to be really, really judicious about who I give them to. Charlotta is good, but isn't quite the favorite that would be justifying the green for me if I don't need it. I say as I continue to suffer through the ticket missions. I will say this is a bit of a scuffed run for me. You're going to be seeing a few goofs here and there, owing to 10 plus failed runs before slapping Auron on the team. I was kind of starting to lose my mind a little bit. I was doing stupid stuff like just completely forgetting to use Terra's LD after using her FR, just ridiculous stuff. And some of it carried over here. Not enough that we failed, but it gets a little touchy at points. So the strategy here right now is you want to burn through his health, get him to 59%. The reason is, here it is. Forgot to use the LD as I mentioned. So Auron's going to go ahead and get a turn. Definitely pretty massive damage loss here, not getting the giant FR multiplier this turn from Terra. But here we are. The thing about this fight, what I didn't realize actually the first time I ran it in Dare to Defy, is that once you get them to 59% and trigger that first threshold attack, the boss loses his debuff mechanic. The whole warping with less than 7 debuffs thing and all that jazz stops happening, which is really cool. So we're trying to burn through it because right now we don't have enough debuffs in the party outside of the Farris Call, which we've already used both copies of. So there we go. And you'll see here, hilariously, the first non-double tap I get all night, and it's on the run with Auron. Go figure. I actually really like what they did with the design of this fight now that I think about it, because the way they make the thresholds work, it's almost like 3 phases. We got that first debuff focus phase where you need to keep them debuffed, keep them debuffed, keep them debuffed. I guess to sell Exdeath, it's kind of unclear to me how they're trying to really sell Charlotta there. Force attack, no. And then we get this kind of slog from 60% to 40%, which is kind of a breather phase of sorts, but you're probably not going to be using your force time during it, so it's a bit of a slog to be sure. You're mostly just trying to land with the adds at the right position for when you get to 40%. You don't want their health to be too high, obviously, or too low even if you don't want to kill them by accident. I think a lot of people are learning the hard way that the adds, if killed at the same time you push the threshold, will respawn and kill you. So you gotta be really sensitive about those 2 points. I'd say that there are really 3 threatening things about this fight. The big 40% thing at the end, of course, the warps at the beginning, and then the threshold attacks. And if you manage those points, the actual kind of day-to-day of it, so to speak, isn't that scary. You just need to mostly watch out for that big AoE attack they do and have some kind of defensive mitigation on the team somewhere. But yeah, I really like the design, the kind of the tri-phase design. It feels almost like a like a raid in an MMO or something, where, you know, the boss has certain phases they go through, and you have to have kind of mechanics and preparations and mitigations for that phase specifically. It almost feels like a sleeker version of what Boss Rush was trying to do, in having you kind of interact with multiple considerations in different ways, you know? So I appreciate that. It was good stuff. So here, maybe I shouldn't have summoned here in hindsight. I was just kind of trying to force my way through this last 10%. But and I wanted to freeze their force gauge as well. The problem, of course, being I could have saved the summon for a bit closer to 40 in order to really precisely manage the minions' hit points. You're gonna see why I'm having this kind of late stage regret about not doing that when we get there. But yeah, other than that, you know, we got Terra, we got Ornn, we got Frey. It's mostly just been kind of a punch fest. You know, that first phase was mostly get debuffs up and then get Terra's FR and burn through it. This one's just kind of a slugfest and landing just right with the boss minion hit points. I will say, I mentioned, you know, getting killed by the double tap repeatedly. People like to complain about randomness in this game. They'll be like, oh, I randomly died to the boss randomly killed me, randomly. And there isn't actually that much RNG in the actual gameplay of this game. I mean, obviously RNG in the gacha element of it, but usually stuff, you know, if you know the mechanics of the fight, there's very little randomness. It's, you know, okay, the boss will do this, you know, they'll do this attack at this threshold, you know, what have you. The two areas where randomness really does shine through is starting turn order and the way certain bosses will aim and target. And it's really frustrating for me when I think those two things are the make or breaks of a given fight. Not that they are in this case, I think there's a lot going on in this fight, but it's frustrating when a fight is this intense and this challenging and then also can just kill you through randomness. It's a frustrating experience. I found, like, if Ornn wasn't going first on this team, I had to reset right then and there. If, you know, because he wasn't going to get guard, you know, it's going to be a whole thing. I was going to run at Faris. And if they, you know, in the other team, the double tap did kill me repeatedly, and it was just kind of frustrating. Oh, anyway, so that was a little mini rant about randomness, because that's, I think, the one valid area to complain about randomness in this game. But anyway, you'll see here, I kind of put myself in an awkward position. I'm trying to figure out how the hell I'm supposed to get the boss's minions into a good threshold point. I had mismanaged their health, and they got too low, so I figured, you know what, we'll kill them and, you know, re-damage them down to post 50. But they're in force time, so it's really hard to deal them damage because that brave damage reduction. So we used both of the Rains calls brilliantly, probably the weakest Rains calls I've ever seen. And we're actually going to use Terra's FR here, which is also going to suffer from that brave damage resistance. It's just really kind of embarrassing damage for a force attack. Launching the minions here too, just trying to squeak past the 50% mark with like 2%, probably 1.5% to go on the main boss. So we're assuming the LD will do it here thanks to the refunds, and thankfully it does. So there we go, we managed to sneak past that threshold. Ornn's actually going to get 2 force time enhanced counters, which is pretty cool. Something else I didn't realize, a correction actually, to issue I guess for my Dare to Defy video, is the boss only regens health on player action. I thought it was enemy action too, but it's only player action, so I guess some kind of enemy phase type, you know, counterattack dealio could get past this phase. Obviously, I'm not doing anything like that here, but good to know. I don't know where I got the idea there was enemy phase. I thought I heard it somewhere, but I guess I must have misheard or something, or was misinformed, either way. But anyway, we got the scuffed Terra FR once again. I really had hoped to get Terra's burst finisher off before going into force time, but my hand was a little bit forced by the just the way everything's hit points had lined up at that point, as you saw. So I ended up having to save it once again for after her burst phase, meaning the burst phase itself is going to be weaker, and we're going to be relying on that burst finisher to deal the killing blow here. It's going to be kind of close, as you can see. The exponential scaling nature of force time makes it kind of tricky to figure out how much damage you're going to be putting out, because each hit deals so much more damage than the last hit. Alright, so that's the last of our launches, so we're going to get 2 more attacks. One is going to be a nice, powerful Riot Blade, blow up the minions one more time, and we're going to hopefully deal 8% of their health with this final 635% burst finisher. Let's see if Terra can do the job. It'd be pretty stupid. Wouldn't it be funny if it didn't work and I just ended the video like, yep, nope, and then I lost? Happily, that didn't happen. Alright, well, screw this fight. Very difficult, very challenging. A lot of fun, actually, once you get the hang of it, but god damn is it tricky. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Adios. Oh shit, I have to do the ticket mission. Fuck.